Let's have a look at the list of activities part of the VMware package. The activities are located under server virtualization, and we have a VMware scope activities, which can be used to connect to your vCenter address as a container that provides the scope for other VMware activities. Next, we have activities for retrieving information about the host and data stores in a specified data center. And finally, we have more than 20 activities for virtual machine and templates, like powering off a virtual machine, run a program, configuring a robot, and so on. Let's move and talk about how to use these activities in practice. This is the vSphere, the client that I use to connect to my vCenter. Imagine that you have a list of virtual machines in a location that you want to power off at the end of the workday to reduce power consumption, CPU, and memory consumption. Such a workflow can easily be automated with VMware activities. First, I run the process from Orchestrator to see it at work. Then I show the list of activities used to create this process in UiPath Studio. For this demo, I will use this folder as the location from where I want to power off the virtual machine. Let's go in UiPath Orchestrator and start the job. First, I select the process, I select the robot where to run my process, and specify a value for the input parameter. The input parameter represents the folder location in vCenter from where I want to power off the virtual machines. Save the parameter and start the process. Let's switch to vSphere Client and see the result. We refresh the view, and you will see that the machines are now powered off. The center small VM and small VM2 are now powered off. Let's switch to UiPath Studio to see the list of activities used in the implementation of this workflow. We need to first provide a scope for all VMware activities. We use vmwarescope activities. In order to provide the input parameter for these activities, we need the vCenter address, username, and password. For this, I prefer to create two assets in Orchestrator. One is the address, and the other are the credentials. In this sequence, the first step is to read the value of these assets, and then to store them in local variable and set them as input parameter for the scope. We need another activity that obtains the list of machines we want to power off. We use the getVMList activities that has as input parameter the folder where to search for virtual machines. We specify here that we want to include subfolders in case any are present. We're only interested in machines that are powered on. Now we click OK, and the result will be a list with virtual machine objects. For each virtual machine in this list, we need to call PowerOffVM. We use a parallel for each activity, and for each item, I call PowerOffVMware activity. For these activities, we need to specify if we want to gracefully shut down the virtual machines or just to power them off, similar to unplugging. In my case, I chose to shut them down. An important note here is that if a virtual machine does not have a guest operating system installed on it, or the tools are not running, this activity will skip the shutdown guest OS by ignoring the exception thrown by trying to call it. It will log the exception, but will not fail the activity. The virtual machine will be powered off without shutting down the guest operating system. I need to specify now the virtual machine that I want to power off, and because usually this process is run at the end of the day to power off all machines, I'm not interested to wait on the completion of this task. I just initiate it and let the process to complete. If you're interested to wait on completion before going to the next activity, check the box Wait for completion. That was all. In order to have this helpful workflow implemented, you need to use only 3 VMware activities: vmwarescope as a container, getVMList to obtain the list of virtual machines, and for each, I called a PowerOff virtual machine. For more details, you can read our forums. Here in this article, you can find out more details on how to install the VMware Activities package, some example scenarios to automate, and finally, the PowerOff workflow that is also presented in this video. We hope that you use this IT automation package to automate as much of your VMware tasks and free up time for more meaningful and creative work. Thank you for watching.